Alright, hello everybody, this is Mrs. Roman. I'm going to go over 4 of the most highly missed questions on the quiz 8.5e, and then you're going to have the opportunity to retake the quiz. Now, the questions aren't exactly the same on the retake, but they are very similar. So read carefully and take your time. There are 4 questions on the retake quiz. So the first question I'm going to go over was the second question in the quiz. A whole lot of information about what happened. And then our question, which statement is not supported by the student's observation? Okay, so you want to look at the table and decide which one of these is not supported by the table. So our first one, a chemical reaction takes place between magnesium and hydrochloric acid. So I need to see, in test tube 2 with my magnesium and hydrochloric acid, do I see evidence of a chemical reaction? So remember, city girls like their phones. Color, gas, light, temperature, precipitate. So here I have bubbling, temperature increases. So those two would be gas and temperature. So this statement is true. Chemical reaction takes place between the magnesium and the hydrochloric acid. We see at least 2 evidences of a chemical reaction, so that one's correct. A gas is released in test tube 2. Well, if we go back here, we already said that bubbles mean gas creation. So that one is also correct. The substances in both test tubes were reactive only at high temperatures. Well, I need to go back and make sure. So here, a student obtains 2 strips of magnesium, 3 centimeters long. One strip of magnesium is placed in a test tube containing 5 milliliters of water. The other strip is placed in a test tube containing 5 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Both liquids are at room temperature. This is really important why you go through the whole question. Room temperature. So, do they need high temperatures? No, they don't. Last one, energy released in the reaction involving hydrochloric acid. So remember, we had a temperature change. So a temperature change means a change in energy. So that one is correct. So remember, temp change equals a change in energy. So my correct answer for this question would be C, because this one is not supported by the data. Right? This is the type of annotation I hope to see on your test. This will help you increase your likelihood of getting the question correct. Alright, second question we're going to look at. Nitrogen dioxide is a gas that can be generated by emission from vehicles and factories. It can also be generated by natural sources such as forest fires, lightning, microbial activity in the soil. The equation producing nitrogen dioxide is shown in the figure. Which statement correctly describes the equation? First, I need to find out if it's balanced. So I have nitrogen and oxygen on this side, nitrogen and oxygen on the product side. For nitrogen, 2 times 1. For oxygen, 2 times 1. Then I have a second oxygen, 1 times 2. 2, 2, 2. On the product side, nitrogen is coefficient of 1 times 2. 2 times 1. And oxygen, I have 2 times 2. Coefficient of 2, subscript of 2. Remember to combine like terms. So both of these are oxygen, 2 plus 2 would be 4. So my nitrogen, 2 and 2, so that is equal. Oxygen, 4 and 4, that is equal. Right, those are both equal. So the ones that say not balanced, I can automatically rule out. The equation is balanced because a gas is present. We don't care about what's present. All we care about is the number of atoms for each element. The equation is balanced because the number of nitrogen and oxygen atoms is the same on both sides of the equation. Nitrogen's the same, oxygen's the same. So my answer for this one is B. The equation is balanced because the number of nitrogen and oxygen is the same on both sides of the equation. All right, let's look at the third question. This one had a lot that you had to see. The students observed the temperature change from 25 to 23 degrees Celsius. Okay, I already know that's a temperature change, right? I'm looking at chemical reactions. When the solutions were combined, a white substance rapidly formed. All right? That might be a precipitate and settled at the bottom of the container. What most likely happened to produce the result? Right? During the investigation, the student combined 2 clear, colorless solutions. So 2 clear liquids made a white solid. So I am going to say that that's a precipitate. So these are 2 evidences of a chemical reaction. So keep that in mind as we read our answer choices. One of the original compounds came out a solution. We haven't really talked about anything like that. The solution reacted chemically. Possibly, we saw evidences of a chemical reaction. Some water froze into ice crystals. Well, we know that the temperature decreased, but it didn't decrease very much. So ice crystals, probably not. Rapid evaporation of water occurred, leaving a solid. Well, evaporation, remember, is liquid to a gas. And you have to add heat to be able to go from a liquid to a gas. Our temperature dropped, so this one could not be right. So our solution, the solution reacted chemically because we have evidences of a chemical reaction. Remember, as you're taking your test, we're looking at evidences of a chemical reaction. All right. Let's skip that one. Last one. Some students in a chemical lab conducted an investigation in which they added 4 different solids to separate beakers of water. They stirred the mixture for 1 minute and they recorded their observations at the table. Which substances most likely cause new substance to form when mixed? Remember, new substance means chemical reaction. So all I was looking here for was which one was a chemical reaction. Right. 1, dissolved. If I see the word dissolved, I know that that's a physical change. That one's not chemical. The substance caused bubbles. Well, bubbles mean gas, right? So chemical reaction. City girls like their phones. I'm seeing gas. The substance sank to the bottom. Well, we had a solid and a liquid, so I know that's not a precipitate, so that must be physical as well. The substance floated to the top. I don't see any of these changes. No color, gas, light, temperature, or precipitate. So that one must be physical. So 2 is the only one I see one of those evidences of a chemical reaction. That means my answer must be 2. All right? Make sure you've taken the time to go through this. Answer your questions for the retake of 8.5E.